Hello dear tea friends from around the world. Welcome to a new tea class with me, Stéphane Erler. I'm the founder of the Tea Masters blog and the tea-masters.com tea boutique. I'm glad to be with you again with our continuation of our winter tea class, still featuring our star of this class, the Oriental Beauty. We have already tasted several Oriental Beauties, great ones, the Imperial grade from the summer of 2020. We had another summer Oriental Beauty, more normal grade, the tradition grade on my in my selection. And last week we tried Autumn Harvest, and today we're going to try a Winter Harvest, really to understand what makes the difference in terms of taste and flavors due to the harvest season. So this is really going to be very interesting. And next week we are probably going to take a little recess with another tea interview, I hope. And yeah, many things going on. Currently I'm reading this Emperor Huizong book. I will write some about it on my blog in the coming days. I'm not through it. I've done over 100 pages. It's by Patricia Buckley Ebery, an American scholar who is very good at Chinese culture, and that's one of her late books. It was published already in 2014, and she's had a long career, and she wanted to rehabilitate Emperor Song Huizong from the Song Dynasty. And after 100 pages, there is already a lot of content about tea, and I will write more about it in detail. So let's start our class today with our Oriental Beauty from the winter. What does it look like? We always like to compare first the leaves, the dry leaves visually. I have prepared the leaves from last week, the autumn leaves, and the difference is going to be the most striking, because we did not see a big difference between the summer and the autumn leaves. Even between Imperial grade and our tradition grade, it was not such a big difference. However, here for the winter harvest, I really do see two big differences. First, the leaves definitely look quite large, and I see much more green in these leaves. The green color is almost absent in the summer and autumn leaves, but here in winter it is much more present. You do see also some brown, some white tips, and some redder leaves, but these green leaves are also there, and this really tells us that from the appearance already the oxidation level is lower than in autumn or in summer. And the reason for this actually is quite normal, is because it will be a cooler climate during the winter time, when the leaves are harvested and when the leaves are processed. So this is going to be interesting to see how this difference in oxidation is going to affect our flavors and our taste. So let's start by preheating our leaves, our gaiwan. A lot of red fruits in the autumn leaves. And here I have more wood smells due to the roast wet. Underneath, very natural smells, so less ripe smells, but not yet as fresh as a high mountain oolong, but it tends to be a little bit more fresh. Now, this type of oxidation is shows that the farmers really try to process the leaves really in harmony with the season. The magic about oolong tea is that it's semi-oxidized, meaning the oxidation can be between 5 and 95%. And how much oxidation level is given to the leaves, of course, it is determined by man, by the farmer when he processes the leaves, but he tries to do it in a way that is in harmony with the temperatures of the season and with the season that he's working in. So this is, I think, quite interesting to see that a farmer tries to work with nature and not against nature by processing and oxidizing the oolong leaves in accordance with the season that he's in. He could, of course, make it turn this into a red tea by really mixing the leaves strongly to get a lot of juices out, and then maybe heat his factory in order to have enough warmth to oxidize completely the leaves. There are red teas that are made in winter also, so it is possible to make a high oxidation, very high oxidation oolong also in winter. But if they choose not to, it is also because as a way to respect and to be in harmony with the season. So the other interesting thing is that this gives us also a broader range of flavors to choose from. Maybe some people like it less oxidized. This is actually a trend nowadays to go for lower oxidation, more freshness. This trend really started with the high mountain oolongs, and even this taste for freshness has also had an impact on Oriental Beauty. Okay. As I mentioned also in a previous class, the modern Oriental Beauties are less and less roasted because consumers really like these very immediate, strong smells, very fresh smells also. And so there has been a trend towards less oxidation and much less roasting. Here we have still a traditionally processed Oriental Beauty with a good normal amount of drying, roasting, but because it is made in winter and in harmony with the season, the farmer chose not to push the oxidation very high, and this will please people who like lighter aromas in Oriental Beauty. So this is also interesting to notice that the different seasons help us to get different flavors out of it. And if it's still possible to make Oriental Beauty in winter, it is because, again, winter is as a season in according to the Chinese calendar is a little bit different from our Western winter. Winter in the Chinese calendar will be around October, November. So we are not talking about end of December until beginning of March. No, no. According to Chinese calendar, actually, winter is whatever is before Chinese New Year, and so because Chinese New Year is the start of spring. Here we are already in spring now, but we are fortunate in Taiwan to be blessed with a very good high temperatures throughout the year that make it almost possible to harvest tea all year long. The winter interruption will last from maybe December to March, where there are very few teas that are made. Dongpian is one of the exceptions. But in lower altitudes, and here in Hsinchu we are was at a lower altitude, tea can still be made in as far as October, November, and this will be labeled then as winter tea. And the insects are still present at this time, and there are batches where they will really bite the leaves a lot. In more affordable and then a little bit lower grade Oriental Beauties from the winter, there'll be a bit fewer bites. This one, I will let you guess if it's bitten a lot. Well, actually, because you don't have the information about the price. Yeah, we can already see that the color is much lighter. We are on yellow or pale orange type of color, and in the leaves, in the open leaves, we do still see a lot of green leaves, which we almost did not have in the previous harvests of autumn or summer. So the oxidation level in this batch of Oriental Beauty is really much lower than what we experienced with the summer and the autumn batches. So this does translate in a very different type of flavor, much more floral, less fruity. It still has a sweetness and this particular honey note, but a floral note, not a fruity, mature, ripe note. But there is also still this very typical smell of Oriental Beauty, but in more in a lighter way. It is yeah, the oxidation level really does have an impact because it is much lighter, and you feel that this tea is very different from the previous Oriental Beauties we've had. It's much closer, you could say, to other types of oolongs that we know, like Dongding oolong, but still it has the roasting is less present than Dongding, and it has a natural sweetness, a honey sweetness that you don't find in other oolongs so much. Very interesting smells. I hope you enjoy them. I always try to make these classes online and live in order to discover with you the tea and try to find words at the same time. Yeah, it does remind the smell of Taiwan during a more pleasant time when it's not so overheated, so you don't feel an excess of heat, of warmth in these leaves. So this is a more cooling type of Oriental Beauty. And if you are interested in winter type winter harvests, I also have my ultimate Oriental Beauty made in the winter, which is much more perfumey in its sense, very different flavors than the imperial grade from the summer, which shows again that Oriental Beauty is a large category. The fact that it's able to be produced in 3 different seasons, even though it is made, all these do come from the same farmer and from the same tea cultivar, Qingxing Dapang, but it really can produce this very broad type of flavors depending on the season, on the oxidation level, and also on how often these leaves were bitten by these insects. Today's batch, this example is on the lower side. If you taste the Ultimate Oriental Beauty from winter, you will see an explosion of scents, because that one is really on the very top side. But already here on the first brew, we have really very fine flavors and a lot of sweetness. So let's try a second one. And yeah, let's also recapitulate, review the different names of Oriental Beauty. Did you remember them all? Dongfang Meizhen, the Chinese name of Oriental Beauty. We also have Baira Oolong, white tip Oolong, because of the white tips that are numerous in Oriental Beauty. We also have Wu Se Cha, a 5-color tea, and this is very true in this winter batch, because we have this time a lot of green leaves. We had very few of them in the summer and in the fall season batches. And we also have Pong Fong Cha, the Bragger's tea. Lots of different names for the same tea, because this tea really has a lot of variation, lots of different aspects, and we have just seen in these 4 classes teas from the very same farmer in Hsinchu, in the birthplace of Oriental Beauty. Imagine how much more variety we can get if we explore Oriental Beauties made from other farmers, and especially if we go to the Wenshan area, where Oriental Beauty can be made with all types of cultivars there. The only thing that they need is the summer season and insect bites, but in Wenshan, where they usually make baozhong, they can also make Oriental Beauty in the summer, and they will use all types of cultivars, Qingxing, Seji, Jinxuan, Bailu, etc., etc. But really, my experience, Qingxing Dapang is the most suitable. This is the one that gives the best results, the most finesse. The second brew is of course a little bit stronger now, as we get more flavors out of the leaves, but still much paler than what we had in the previous classes. So this batch is would be a bit graded lower than the best ones, due to two reasons. One, the leaves we saw were rather large, but most important, the flavors are not as perfumey. There are a bit fewer bites, still enough to taste the honey note and make sure that this is Oriental Beauty. But if you are really very into Oriental Beauty, what you will want is really a high degree of these honey notes, and you will try to look for this in your tea. Here it is a bit less present, but this is also a bit due to the season, because it starts to be a bit colder, and these insects reproduce a bit less. But it's not, these things are a general rule. There are always exceptions, and in winter it is still possible to make very good imperial grade or higher Oriental Beauty, and the ultimate Oriental Beauty in my selection is proof to it. Just still, I would say the season which is the most in catching the spirit of Oriental Beauty still remains the summer season. That's also when it's possible to make the very best Oriental Beauties. That's when it's closest to perfection, when everything comes together. Still good potential in winter. Maybe these these lighter notes are easier to be appreciated by people who drink high mountain oolong and lighter teas in general. Maybe the summer and especially the fall Oriental Beauties will be more pleasant for people who are into red teas. So there is something to be gained for everyone with Oriental Beauty. Choose your season and try to enjoy it according to your taste. Okay, with this, thank you very much. My cup to you, and we will see each other in another class, probably in 2 weeks. Thank you very much. Bye bye. Are there any questions? I don't see any. No comments so far. I'll finish my cup. Still very nice. A lot of also an absence of defects. No bitter notes, no astringency. Very smooth. Okay, thank you very much. It was nice talking to you, and hopefully next week we'll have an interesting interview, and see you for the continuation of our exploration in these high oxidation and fully oxidized teas in 2 weeks then.